Hello, everyone. My name is Hector Gasca, and with Paul Skilley, we want to present the preliminary results of the project, a survey of the pleasing fungus beetles of Colombia, which was supported by the Beetle Research Grant, an initiative of the Coleopteri Society. This project was carried out during 2024 and 2025. As a small introduction, the pleasing fungus beetles of the subfamily Erotylinae can be recognized by the following combination of characters: variable body size, usually elongated, convex and weakly parallel side to hemispherical, antenna with 11 antennomers, antennal club symmetrical, usually with 3 antennomers, apical maxillary pulp dilated, mentone triangular or pentagonal, tarsal formula 555 with reduced tarsomer 4, and with a variety of coloring patterns, often brilliant with black spots combined with spots or irregular lines, ranging from red, yellow to orange. These patterns are extremely varied in intricate in the group, particularly in tropical America. There are just over 2,500 species in the world, in about 185 genera, where most of the species of the subfamily are distributed in the neotropical region. Both adult and larvae feed on the fruit bodies of a wide variety of basidiomycete fungi. Over the last 10 years, knowledge of the Erotylinae in the nootropics has increased considerably. We have a time of about 7 or 8 years where we had no published information for the region. However, recently we can find important contributions on taxonomy and nomenclature that have provided taxonomic stability in subfamily. Also, publications of descriptions of new genera and species, and very interesting works on morphology and natural history that have been very important for the knowledge of the subfamily in the nootropics. However, the scenario in Colombia is very different since we know very little about the group in the country. And I have to say that we have very few published works of the fauna of Erotylidae. Historically, information of species occurring in Colombia has come from other studies, mainly from taxonomic revisions. Just to mention some, Libanoides, Skyros, Mycolivas, Dyslexia, or Misofortus. In each of these works, new species had been described for Colombia. And perhaps one of the most important references is the Alvarenga catalog, where we can obtain the first list of the Erotylidae of Colombia with 232 species in 30 genera registered for the country. As I said before, we have very few published papers. For example, a work on new records for Colombia, or another work on redescriptions, synonyms, and new records in the genus Basis and Oligocorinus. Given this background, we want to establish the current number of species and genera in Colombia, and now their geographical distribution in order to contribute to the knowledge in the diversity of this group of beetles in the country. So, for a year, we visited entomology collections in Colombia, carried out curatorial work and taxonomic identification. We reviewed material for 25 collections, 23 national and two foreign. We review a little more than 3,500 specimens, most of which are identified at the species levels. About 600 specimens were identified at the genera level, and only a smaller proportion of specimens require a taxonomic confirmation. After the review of the material, We are reporting 15 new records for Colombia, including 3 genera that are reported for the first time for the country: Phrycobasis, Blastococcus, and Pseudolibas. These genera had been previously reported from Panama, Peru, Bolivia, and Brazil. So what we have, Colombia currently has 295 species of pleasing fungus beetles distributed in 37 genera in the tribes Megalodagnini, Tritomini, and Erotylinae. In Colombia, we have 4 monotypic genera that are exclusive to the country: Dicomorpha, Euphonistis, Peritornis, and Spinoxus. 116 species are endemic, representing 39% of the country's diversity. And a very important fact, we find in the revised collections 107 species. Then the information of the rest of the species reported from Colombia comes from the literature. So this just suggests the need of continue working and continue visiting collection, and especially carry out fieldwork to allow us to know what is the current distribution of these species and to know information about their natural history and ecology. With information obtained from the revised material, we made an analysis of the diversity of the subfamily for Colombia. We have information from all departments in the country except the island region of San Andres. Here. The departments with the highest number of species are Cundinamarca, Meta, Antioquia, followed by Valle del Cauca, Boyacá, and Amazonas, and Caldas. This diversity in these departments matches with the fact that these regions have the main entomological collections of the country, and the institutions focus their field expeditions on different localities of their respective regions. This is also why the Andean region is the natural area with the largest number of species, with 157, followed by the Amazon region, 85, and the Orinoquia region. The Caribbean region has the least information about its diversity, and this is mainly due for the lack of visits to many entomological collections in the region, added to the lack of field work in the region. So we must pay more attention to this area of Colombia in order to know what is the real diversity. We also made an analysis of the collections visited, showing the material deposited in each of them. This is the top 10 of the main entomology collections in Colombia, where the following collections: Museo Entomológico de la Facultad de Ciencias Agrarias of National University of Colombia, Natural History Museum of the Pontificia Universidad Javeriana in Bogotá, Entomological Museum Francisco Luis Gallego of Universidad Nacional de Colombia in Medellín, collection of Natural Science Institute of Universidad Nacional de Colombia, and Natural History Museum of Universidad Pedagógica Nacional are the collection with the largest number of specimens. And also, several of these collections have the highest number of species and genera. So therefore, they become the most important reference collection of the study for the study of the Erotylidae in Colombia. And the vast majority of these collections are located in Bogotá, the capital city of Colombia. So what's next? Well, I have to say that we have a lot of work to do, and for us that is a good news. We must continue to visit collection in Colombia and in other countries that may have specimens for Colombia. We have information, very important information to develop species distribution maps, and we can compare these maps with the protected areas of the country. In Colombia, we have more than 60 protected areas, such as national parks and sanctuaries of fauna and flora. Also, we must focus on field work, especially in areas with information gaps, such as the Caribbean region. Now we have information to conduct regional faunistic studies and also contribute with this information for future taxonomic revisions. We are working on a key for genera that occurs in Colombia, which is very, very, very necessary, not only for the country, but also for the neotropical region. And we also have to work on the description of new taxa. So we are already working on it. From the review of the material in this project, we decide to make a taxonomy revision of the genus Plastococcus, where we made a species redescription, designation of lectotypes, and we described 5 new species. One of them found in Colombia from the locality of El Retiro in the department of Antioquia. We find the male and the female of these species, which are deposited in the entomological collection of the University of Antioch. As a part of the project objectives, this work has already been submitted in August to the Colopterus Bulletin, and the manuscript is in the reviewing process. We're also working on the description of other new taxa, for example, new species in genera, in genus Ellipticus, Iphitlus, Ischiurus, 3 new species in Ischiurus, and also in the description of what we consider to be a new genus. It is a very, very, very interesting genus because it's a Brachypterus. And the good news is that before we start the project, we have only 1 specimen from FSCA. After the project, we already have a series of more than 10 specimens from different locations in Colombia, and of which we may have more than 1 species. We are very excited about this finding, and we are working on it. So we want to extend a special thanks to all the curators of the visited collection who allowed us to review the material. We were in several cities in Colombia working with Erotylidae and other beetle groups, and it really was a very, very good trip, a very special trip for Paul. It was the first time he visited Colombia, and Paul promised us that he will return, so we hope he will visit us again. Remember, Paul, this is your home. This is the moment where it all began. In 2012, I did a research internship at FSCA with Paul, supported by the Center of Systematic Entomology, and here we are now in 2025, concluding that we consider to be a first stage of updated taxonomic knowledge of the Erotylidae subfamily in Colombia. Finally, we want to thank in a very special way to the Colopterus Society, and of course to the Bell Research Grant for all the valuable support and for giving us the opportunity to develop this project for the first time in Colombia. Thank you very much for your attention, and we are ready for your questions. Bye-bye.